So, you're considering making a move to Viera, Florida. Well, in today's video, I'm going to give you 10 things that you need to know before making the move to Viera. We're going to cover topics like the cost of living, things to do, best neighborhoods, and of course, the crime rates. So you can make the absolute best decision when it comes to moving here to the Space Coast. If we've never met before, my name is Rachel Langley. I make videos that are all things Space Coast living, what it's like to live here, what it's like to work here, what it's like to play here, the food, the dining, the outdoors, the beaches, and the sunshine. I'm also a licensed real estate agent here and help people just like you buy, sell, relocate, and invest here in the Space Coast. So you're probably wondering where to start. Heck, you and Google may have become best friends over the last few months from all the searches you've been doing and watching videos like this on YouTube, which are extremely helpful. And I gotta tell you, I remember what it feels like. A few years ago, my family and I decided we were going to move to the Space Coast. We wanted to make sure we can find out those things that were most important to us. And in today's list, I'm excited to share this with you because this is the same set of criteria that I use to make this move. And I'm sharing this with you because in the last couple of years, because of this YouTube channel, I have spoken to hundreds of people just like yourself who are considering making that move. And we have compiled this list, and it was almost identical to my list when I started making a search. So we want to share these topics with you today. So let's get into these topics specifically. That way, you know which ones are going to be important to you as we go along. Viera is a master plan community located about an hour away from Orlando and 20 minutes away from the Atlantic Ocean. Viera has a lot to offer with loads of different amenities, recreational facilities, restaurants, A-rated schools, shopping, and a wide selection of modern residential neighborhoods, including a few 55 and older communities. Viera is split by Interstate 95, and on the east of I-95 is called Viera East, where it's a little older and it started being built in the late 80s. And then on the west of I-95 is Viera West, and that started being built up in the late 90s up until today. Our 10 topics today are going to be the cost of living, the best neighborhoods, things to do, the best schools, crime. We're going to talk about traffic, weather, jobs in the area, healthcare, and overall quality of living. Now, the cost of living here in Viera is relatively low compared to other areas in Florida. And it's also more expensive than other ones too. So what do I mean by that? Well, let's break down some numbers so you can get some perspective, because places like Miami and Naples and Sarasota, even Orlando, definitely can be on the more expensive side. Well, I won't say expensive, but they can cost more. The cost of living is definitely more in those areas than in Viera, but there are spots in Viera, especially Viera West, where you can spend as much money as you like, or definitely on the luxury side of living as well. So let's get into some of these numbers right now. The median home price in Viera East is right around $406,000 and is $590,000 in Viera West. To get more nitty-gritty, the average condo or townhouse is going to be starting in the $290,000 range in Viera East and $355,000 in Viera West. And then the average single family home is going to start at $465,000 in Viera East and $745,000 in Viera West. Rent in the area for a single family home is right around $2,600 in Viera East and $3,200 in Viera West. And things like groceries and overall shopping, things that you are accustomed to, are actually on par or a little bit below the national average. So that's something to keep in mind. There are many top-rated neighborhoods in both Viera East and West. It really depends on what you're looking for. There are gated and non-gated communities, some with parks and amenity packed, and some without amenities. There are some very high HOA fees and some with relatively lower HOA fees. The important thing to know is that every single neighborhood in Viera is going to have an HOA. As well, will be a part of the master HOA in Viera. You're going to find housing like townhomes, condos, and single-family homes, and there's a plethora of new construction or newer homes here in the area. Many areas in the Space Coast were built between 1950 and 1970, making Viera desirable because the whole area is relatively new and has been planned to provide easy access to shopping, restaurants, amenities, and healthcare. There's so many things to do, including shopping, dining, activities, and this list could be a mile wide, and it could literally be its own video. So I do want to tighten this up, but let's talk about some of the shopping. If you've seen any of our various Viera videos, you know that Viera is a hot shopping hub for all of the Space Coast because of the avenues at Viera. The avenues offer an array of shopping options from big national retailers such as Sephora and Kohl's to local shops, coffee shops, and restaurants, to a Walmart, Target, Hobby Lobby, and grocery stores like Publix close by. The list goes on and on. Anything you really need is all conveniently located in this area, which depending on where you live, you can either ride your golf cart to, or it'll be a 5 to 7 minute drive. There's a really great Thai restaurant, you should check it out. And there's also 28 North Gastropub, which is another favorite that has really cool cocktails, and the food there is amazing. And of course, there's many chain restaurants like Bonefish, Chili's, Longhorn Steakhouse, Texas Roadhouse, and more. I will say the developers really did a good job at making this whole area look aesthetically pleasing, and there's a good mix of local, luxury, and chain retailers. Many local events are held at the courtyard, such as yoga and craft brews in the park. There's also a new area being developed right now called Burroughs West, which is a 115-acre mixed-use development and is going to have more shopping, restaurants, entertainment venues, hotels, and office buildings. There's a brand new wine bar that just opened, a Whole Foods is coming in, and there's a Chick-fil-A, and many more exciting plans. Now, in terms of amenities or things to do in the area, many of the neighborhoods have amenity centers. There's many parks, and Viera is only 20 minutes away from the beach. There are sports complexes and sports fields, and close by in Century is the Brevard Zoo, where they host events all the time there. And hey, if you're a local, I would love to know what are your favorite things to do here in Viera. Do not hesitate to put that in the comments below. We appreciate the contribution. Viera is known for having A-rated schools. It is made up of a really good mix of public schools, charter schools, and private schools. There are also some STEM schools in the system, which stand for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. There is also a brand new middle school that will be open in 2024. All right, local parents, I'm calling out to you now because this is where people are considering making a move to the area and could really use your help. Please let them know what your experience has been with the public school system, or the charters, or the private schools in the comments down below. It would be greatly appreciated. And hey, while you're down there, if you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button and clicking that little bell if you've gotten any value out of today's video. That would also be very helpful in getting this out to other people who are looking for this information. All right, so let's get into traffic. The nitty-gritty when it comes to traffic. As of 2023, the population of Viera East is just over 12,000 and Viera West is just over 14,000. Now, if you were to talk to someone who has lived here for many, many years, they would say there's traffic in Viera. For me personally, I consider traffic stop and go and slow moving throughout the day versus only during rush hour. There's definitely cars on the road and it's a populated area, but you won't run into stop and go traffic unless there's an accident. When it comes to weather, most people are coming here because they absolutely want to take advantage of the sunshine. And here in the Space Coast, we get over 220 days of sunshine every single year. It's incredible. The average temperature in Viera in the winter is going to be right around 65 degrees with low humidity. It's absolutely amazing. And in the summer, when it comes to July and August, you're going to be looking at the low 90s. It's right around 90 degrees, but it's definitely going to get warm. Luckily, we do get a breeze from the ocean and rivers. One of the nice things here when it comes to weather is Viera is far enough inland where you are insulated, so to speak, from what could happen from an intense storm or a hurricane. You can still get stronger weather, of course, but you know, it's still inland and away from the ocean. So So just keep that in mind when you're considering Viera. When it comes to jobs, you'll actually get a lot of options in the area we're here right now. The unemployment rate in the Space Coast is 3.2%, which is definitely lower than the national average. You've got healthcare systems that are a great employer here. You've got the school systems, a few universities. There are also an abundance of defense contractor jobs. You've got Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, Viera, and many more. We also got the Air Force, the Space Force bases here, and of course the aerospace industry with big contenders such as SpaceX and Blue Origin. As speaking of healthcare, you've got great healthcare options here in the area as well. You've got a Health First Hospital as well as a VA clinic right here in Viera. All right, let's talk about crime. The things that nobody wants, but everyone wants to talk about, and that's gonna be crime. Okay, one of the questions I always get asked when you guys reach out to us is, hey Rachel, what is the crime like? Is this a safe place? I really want to live in a safe area. And I went to Google, I typed it in, is Viera a safe area? It took me to great websites. There's a website that I encourage you to visit. It's called Neighborhood Scout, which pulls FBI data. There is also crimegreat.org. There is some free info on each website, but there are also some crime reports you can purchase. But if you're planning on living somewhere, then purchasing a crime report isn't the end of the world. It's a smart decision. Understanding these statistics from Neighborhood Scout for anywhere you are considering to move to is super important. There aren't any places in the country that are crime-free, so to speak. So just do your research. What I always tell people to do when it comes to looking at areas and their safety, because I'm not allowed to tell you whether something is safe or not, because I hold a real estate license. But what I always tell people to do is go look at your area, okay? Measure your stats from the Bureau against what you're looking at. So it will give you a really good frame of reference to compare it to where you currently live and the new area that you're interested in. That's a great way to vet that out. But when the FBI is saying it's a pretty safe place to live overall, I think that's a good indicator. Additionally, as I mentioned earlier, there are also many gated communities here if you do want to take that extra step. In all, 9 of those things add up to number 10, which is the overall quality of life here in Viera. And as you can see, there is a lot to like about the area. You've got top-rated schools, low crime statistics, you've got good cost of living in Viera East and slightly higher in Viera West, lots of activities like golf, amenities, lots of outdoor living to take advantage of. And these are all the reasons why people like yourself are reaching out to us and are really wanting to call Viera their home. So I hope today's video has been helpful. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. My contact information is listed down below. There's even a calendar where you can schedule a time that's most convenient for you. And hey, if you want to DM me on Instagram, that's cool too. Lots of people do. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.